Hey guys, today we are live. I'll be answering those questions that you've been yearning to ask because most of the time I post videos, I go live doing repairs, we don't talk, we don't interact. So today I'm going to take you through washing machine tips and things you need to know before purchasing a washing machine. I have several machines in the store, but today I have a Samsung. I have a Ramtoms, which I'll talk about. We have a Hisense here. This is now a very common brand in my region. And then we have a Siemens. We have a Heya. People are now buying Heya. And we have a Von Hotpoint. If you check here, those are spare parts. I have several motors over there. So maybe you're wondering where this guy get all these machines. I have several machines. Today we'll discuss only the 6. Ramtoms are 144. We have a Samsung. We have a Siemens. We have a Hisense. We have Heya, and we have Von Hotpoint. I buy these machines. I buy dead machines. This one had an issue with the bearings, so it's working well. I just removed the door. I was doing some testing on another machine. This one had issues with bearings. This one here, this is a Samsung. It had issues with the motherboard. The motherboard is dead. And then we have the Hisense. This one has an issue with the door switch. I'll take you through every machine. And then we have a Siemens. This is a good brand. It had an issue with the motor. And then we have Heya, which had issues with the motherboard. Unfortunately, in my region, it's hard getting spare parts for Heya. This one, a very common problem. It had an issue with the drum. So when spinning, it's making that rumbling sound. So we advise clients, if you have a washing machine, is it worth repair? Is it worth disposing? So we advise you, if you're okay with the repair, which is quite expensive, we proceed. But it's good to go for a new machine. I'll start with the Samsung. Let me clarify this. I don't work for any of these brands. I just give advice. There are things I feel they should work on. Before we proceed with that, if you have a washing machine that is making noise, if you have a washing machine that is making noise and it's well leveled, when we talk about leveling, we have this fit here, we have this, we have that, this, and this. Every machine has 4 of that. So if the machine is well leveled and it's still making noise when spinning, when loaded, it's the bearings. But before you replace the bearings, you have to check if all the fits are okay. These ones here. So 2 things. We have a Siemens, we have Bosch, we have Whirlpool. The drums are completely sealed. So if you have a Siemens, a Bosch, a Whirlpool, and the drum is completely sealed, you'll have to order for a new drum, which is quite expensive. So we advise you get a new washer. If you have this type, like in my region, Ramtoms, we have a Samsung, we have a Heya, and we have a Hotpoint, and it's making noise when spinning, you can easily replace the bearings. But here comes the challenge. You know what people do? The machine starts making noise and people assume that is normal. It's not normal. The more the machine runs when loaded on worn bearings, it affects the spider. This is the spider. You see this star here? This is the spider. The spider goes right through that drum where the motor fits. So when it continues running, when the drum is misaligned, the spider affects the hub. So you'll have to order for a new drum, which is quite expensive because let's say a machine has given you 5 years already and you want to spend on buying a new drum. It's not worth it. If you see these machines, I have others in the store. Most of them have drum issues. Other machines have motherboard issues. So 3 things on your washing machine that you might consider before repairing, which are quite costly. Number 1, it's the motor. This is a direct drive motor. And then we have this, the one that has brushes. So these are the most expensive things on a washing machine. The motor, and then we have the motherboard. This is the control panel. This is the motherboard. And then let me show another motherboard here. This is for alarm tones. R143, R145. This is R144. This is R143. So these are the most expensive things on a washing machine. We have the motor, and then we have the control panels. So when buying the washing machines, most of these machines lately, all inverter direct drive washing machines, they are giving a 10-year warranty on the motor. So before you dispose the machine, check if your warranty covers the motor, because like this one is an LG motor. It's a direct drive, it's magnetic. This is the starter, and we have this magnetic plate. They are on warranty, 10 years warranty. But these guys are sharp. They'll give you a 10 years warranty on motor. They know these motors don't really have issues. First year, second year, third year, you've misplaced the warranty card, they won't help you. So always keep the warranty card with you. So if you have a washing machine that has an issue with the motor, check, is it under warranty? If not, you'll have to buy another motor. But is it worth it? Because I've seen instances where somebody goes for a motherboard. Let's say the motherboard blew, like this is the motherboard. This is an LG motherboard. So this one blew, and you go ahead and buy a new motherboard. Before you do that, I've always said this: before you purchase for a new part, call in a technician to do a correct diagnosis. I've seen instances where somebody buys the motherboard and the bearings are worn out. So you'll spend 20,000 on the motherboard, then after 1 month, you have to replace the drum. If you do your maths well, that is almost a new machine. So before you purchase a new part, and I'm talking about the motherboard and the motor, call in a technician to confirm if the machine is okay. Let's say the drum is still intact, the rubber seal is okay, the motor is okay, the brushes are still intact, then you can go ahead and replace the part. But if you go ahead, buy that part, and you've not confirmed if the other parts on the machine are okay, you will waste your money. So these are things you have to consider. Look, I need to insist on something, but hey, I don't work for any of these companies. I will start with the Samsung. Samsung is a good brand in my region. Common problem with Samsung: if you have a Samsung iko bubble. Common problem: motherboard. If you have a Samsung, you'll agree with me. After a few years, if you're lucky, it will give you several years. I'm not saying all models. Samsung is a good brand, by the way, and they do good phones. If you have a Samsung, I'm sure you have experienced this. The machine will fill water, it will wash, and then it will stall. No error code. A common problem with Samsung is the motherboard and the motor. Ramtoms, quite underrated. This is a good brand in my region. It's quite underrated. I've not seen issues with this, but you have to get a power guard. The thing I've seen in this, if you overload, maybe a bearings issue, because people overload. I won't say it's a common problem with the Ramtoms. Even if you're given a good brand, any other brand, and you don't know how to use the machine, or you overload because you want to do one load, a big load once, you'll have issues with the bearings. So Ramtom so far is a good brand. They have a working service center. It's along Mombasa Road, and they have spare parts. Same to Samsung, it's a good brand. They have a working service center, several. We have one, if you're in Nairobi, one in Westlands. There's another one there. We have two in Westlands. We have two as well in town. So they have spare parts. Then there's this brand here. This is the Hisense. It's a good brand. The common thing I've seen with this machine is the door lock. Like you see, this one is completely locked. It won't open. It's a good brand. It's quite affordable. It's cheap. Same to Ramptons. It's quite affordable, easy to maintain. The common thing I've seen with this is the door switch and the drum on the 6 kgs. But it's then we have a Siemens. In my region, most people don't have the Siemens washing machine because it's considered a high-end machine. It's quite expensive, but they are very durable. Siemens and Bosch are very durable, but unfortunately in my region it's hard to get the spare parts for this machine. Number two, on Siemens, yes, it's durable. You have less repair problems, but there's one challenge with this machine. The drum is completely sealed. You can't compare to these other local brands. The drum is completely sealed. So if you have issues with the bearings, unfortunately you have to order for a new drum, or you'll have to replace the machine. You'll have to dispose it because the drum is completely sealed. We don't advise you dissect a completely sealed drum because it won't give you service, it won't last, and it will start leaking. And then we have hair. So far, no issues with the hair. The reason I'll say so far no issues with hair is because in my region, it's now a new brand. So I've not worked on it really. So I won't give you a correct review, but it's a good brand. Just like other machines, we've said, don't overload. Make sure you have a power guard. And yeah, book for maintenance and service. Then we have this Hot Point. This is quite a known brand. Common problem with the Hot Point. That's the most common problem with the Hot Point. This is an honest review. I'm not working for anyone. See? Like every month, I work on a Hot Point that has issues with bearings. And then this inch, they are quite weak, but they have done something. The new latest models have very strong hinges. So kudos to them because they are rectifying that. But if you have this type of model, or the like we have HWS 7 kg, 6 kg, 8 kg, 9 kg. They have a very common problem with this, but as I've said earlier, it's something they are working on. They are now doing very strong hinges. And then it's affordable. They have a working service center in Westlands all over. They have another service center in Ruiru. So you know, things we say you have to consider before buying a washing machine. Do they have spare parts? Do they have a working service center? So there's something I need to talk about when buying a washing machine. We said proper installation. Apart from proper installation, you have to get a power guard. Get a power guard and get a machine cover. There are two types of motherboards. You see this one here, I won't mention the brand. And then we have this one here. Imagine this, both are control panels for different washing machines. Both are the same capacity. Both do the same job. So this is the motherboard for a washing machine. You see the way it looks like, quite weak. And then we have this one that is well protected. If you check, this one has proxy. It's plastic like, it's insulated. And this one is exposed. So when we say you get a machine cover, it will save your machine. This is how it works. Let's say it's raining or there's water splashes on this. The motherboard is always here. Same to this Samsung, there's a motherboard here. There's a motherboard here. This is the display board. There's a display board here. So let's say the machine is at the balcony and it's raining. Yeah? This is what happens. Water drops through this line here. Do you know where it ends up? It ends up on the control panel. This is the motherboard. So imagine this is a motherboard that's quite exposed. And this one is quite protected. You see? It's well sealed and there's proxy. This will blow immediately. This one will blow. When you power on the machine, it will blow. This one, it will take time for it to blow. So it's quite protected. So to avoid all that, make sure you get a washing machine cover. Protect your machine from rain and dust. If you don't, then you will have to replace the motherboard. And to know which one has proxy and which one doesn't, we say this, before you buy a washing machine, ask for help. You can DM us. We are on TikTok. We are on Instagram. Leave us a message. Call us. We'll advise you. It's free. Which one is better and which one is not. I'm not speaking for any company here, but before you buy, just do your research because it's your high-earned money. Don't waste. Get a washing machine cover. Get a power guard. When you're talking about the power guard, look at this machine here. You see, there's something we call the power filter. So when power comes from the socket, it comes here. It comes through this. There's a fuse here. So if you're lucky enough, this blows and power doesn't get on this. So look, some machines don't have this fuse here. It's very important. So when power comes in, like this is an LG, there's a fuse here. There's another fuse here. So if this doesn't blow and power goes through that cable, through the power filter, this one will blow. So you can replace this. You can replace the fuse and the machine will still work. The motherboard is still intact. But unfortunately, if you check on this one, power comes direct from this to the control panel. So once this blows, there was a power surge, hey, that is it. You have to get a new motherboard. You check this, there's a power surge, this might blow. Without this, there's another fuse here, this one here. So you are safe. So make sure you get a power guard. Make sure you get a machine cover. If not, you replace this, which is quite expensive. As I said, these are the most expensive parts on a washing machine. We have this, the motherboard, and then we have the motor, and we have the drum. Okay, something else I've mentioned before. If you have a washing machine, a front loader, once you're done with your laundry, please leave the door open. Look, it won't cost you much to leave the door open. This is what happens when you don't, when you close the door immediately after you're done with your laundry. Look, that is mold. So mold settles here because water stagnates here. Mold only thrives where there's water. So we say this, once you're done with your laundry, take a clean piece of cloth or towel, pass it around here, simple, like that. Just do this. Once that is done, just pass it gently, leave the door open. This is a Samsung. Unfortunately, I've removed the door rubber seal. Okay, this is a Ram Toms. Look, same to this. Water stagnates here, as you can see, and then this one gets mold. Unfortunately, you might end up replacing the entire door rubber seal, which is quite expensive. Leave the door open. That is what you can do to save your machine. But make sure you book for maintenance, at least after 6 months or after a year, depending on how frequent you use the machine. This is what I'm talking about. You might clean this. Yes, it looks good from the outside, but when you open, now this is minus the rubber. Look, this is what the rubber fits. This is how bad your machine looks like. So if you have a washing machine that has never been serviced, it's worse. So what we do is we dismantle the machine, and then we remove this door rubber seal, this, clean it, we soak it in jig, clean it, remove the mold, then plug it back. It leaves the machine smelling good, less on repairs, and then it also takes good care of your clothes, because if the machine is dirty, it stains clothes. So leave the door open after doing laundry. Then we have the filter, this one here. So there's water coming out. So after you're done, you can do it every day after done with laundry, after every cycle, or at least after 1 month. Access the filter, remove this. There's still water, just a minute. Pull this out. This is the filter. But this is not the correct way to remove the filter. Let me show you something. You come down here. This is a Samsung. You tap here. When you tap there, it will open. Then you get a clean piece of cloth, a dry one. Put it underneath here. And then you open the filter like that. Just do this. This is where all the lint comes. Clean this, then plug it back. Simple. If your machine is not draining, that's what you need to do frequently. Make sure it's tight and then close it back.